Welcome to the Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church Network, where we are building faith and transforming lives, where our senior pastor is the Reverend James I. Perkins.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church Straight Talk. As you know, we just entertain different personnel or different members of the community, and we just straight talk. It's no trick questions or anything of that nature. We just talk about what is your passion and what you have a love for, such as teachers or business people or bankers or whatever. So we just straight talk. And I'm so glad this morning that I have, or this today, as my guest, Mr. Gwyn Roop. Mr. Roop is the principal of the Freedman Horizon School. So, Ms. Roop, welcome to Straight Talk.
Well, thank you very much for having me today.
We're just going to get into just basic conversation, and I know that it's a school, and I know that you're governed by the state of North Carolina, but I'm just looking at a Horizon School, maybe somewhat different from our regular traditional school. Am I correct in that?
You are correct.
Maybe just share with me maybe the difference or
Well, depends on how your verbiage and what you're accustomed to. But I'm not a traditional school. I'm not West Lenore. I'm not Valmead. I'm not Lower Creek.
Yeah.
However, in the eyes of the state, I'm certainly fall into that category. I'm considered an alternative school, and so I get the children that for whatever reason they may be having some struggles at any of the typical traditional schools, and they would be referred to me and or to my school, not necessarily to me, but to my school, and we would have them for a period of time, and we would work on whatever needed to be worked on to the best of our ability, and it's not just working with the children, it's trying to work with the families and with the community in some instances, and trying to make sure that they are able to transition and be successful back into their original school that they were in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
As far as it's very brief.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Now, is there any mental preparedness for as you or your staff to address or to lead these children in any way?
Yes, absolutely. Several things. We as a staff have to be prepared for most anything, as in any other teacher in any other school for that matter. But when a child does come to me, typically I would receive quite a bit of information on a particular child.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he and I don't want to say she, but a particular child.
Yeah.
And in that information, it would tell a brief history of their school academics and times and things like that, and maybe some places where we could be beneficial most throughout the cycle of them being with me, I guess. And then, at that point, we would also, prior to them coming, I would have a conversation probably with the school and maybe the teacher, and then most definitely with the parents.
Yeah.
And try to, I want to help the school, but also want to help the parents.
Yeah.
And if I can help those two, that will most definitely help the child. And so, we have a lot of information and preparedness of trying to get ready for each individual child.
Yeah. And
then beyond that, we have, there's some of the plans that we have that maybe some of the other schools don't have that we have to be prepared for, and a lot of social emotional type things and mental health, and but everything I'm saying is not something that's just strictly Horizons. It's in every school and probably in every hardest job in the world is being a parent.
Yeah. So, I know. One other question I think come to my mind is referrals. If Perkins has a troubled child, whether it's 6, 7, 8-year-old, do I contact Horizon, or how do I go about, or where, or how are referrals?
So referrals come from the school district itself, from the
Okay.
schools. And so school A over here, they would fill out the referral information and then they would send it to the district. It would not come to me. I don't make the decision of a
Okay.
child coming to me. And so there's a district, it's called a district review team, or DRT, and they hear the information and make the best call, judgment, decision, whatever it is you want to call them. And then that's how they would be referred to me. As far as you and as a community member, what I would say is if you have a child that needs to be referred, I would probably go to that parent and say, these are some things in the community in this general area. And when I say this general area, it could be Lenore, it could be Morganton, it could be Hickory, or Boone, or whatever. And try to get them referred to a community agency type thing. Or in some cases, a church. If there's a good outreach program that a church would have, and lots of many different areas there that you could go. The old saying of "it takes a village to raise a child" has never been more true than it is today.
I'm sure. I know that this is, for lack of, well, it's not lack of a better word, that's what we are. You are an alternative school. But you don't hear that term alternative when you say Freedman Horizon. Nowhere in there where it has parentheses alternative.
Right.
Is there a reason why we don't, or you don't, or the school does not publicize alternative? Well,
I guess on their website and things like that, it says Horizons Alternative Elementary School. In years past, I think the negative connotation that would go with it would be an alternative school. We are alternative in many aspects, and in many aspects we're not. But today, typically, I would have parents that would be very cautious of that to begin with. And then by and large, by the end of their tenure of ever how long that might be, many times the parents don't necessarily, they're very uncomfortable when it comes time to transition back, and I understand it. And same for the kids. And I've often said that a child that comes to my school is not permanent. My job is not to keep them forever. My job is to, and again, I say my job, the folks at the school, is to work with that child, figure out maybe some alternative means of getting to that goal. And then, working with that child and making that plan of what they can do in the traditional school, and then they go back. And it's tricky to know when. It's tricky to know when it's the best time, when's too long, when's too short. I'm not dealing with robots, so I can't. That makes it very difficult sometimes.
Years ago, well, not years ago, prior to Freedom Horizon opening, at that time the superintendent was, I had the minor, Dr.
It opened in Hudson.
Yeah, but they moved from Hudson to here. Dr. Stone,
yes.
Yeah. He organized a committee of African Americans, some that lived in the Freedman area, and of course me, I'm all over the place. For why, I don't know. But to sort of enlighten us, or to get our opinions, and at the beginning, be truthfully, we thought that these were just bad children going to be moved into a black neighborhood. I mean, that's all we knew. Nobody had informed us about alternative. But after viewing the place in Hudson and sitting down and talking with Dr. Church and Dr. Stone and so many others, we just felt that just the compassion was there, the love was there, the care was there. We thought they'd be terrorizing the community and everything, but it's not like that. Those kids, they just, and I'm sure I'm not telling you something you don't know, just need some love, some attention, and Yeah, you gotta have a little patience
and a little structure.
and a little structure. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I can't say enough about the community itself, and the support that folks like you coming out and pardon me, I forgot to put my phone on silent, and helping and sometimes just being a sounding board, but often,
yeah,
Mr. Roop, what is it that we can do? Um, I hate to ask people for help. That's just kind of my nature, I suppose. But um, I I would like for us to be more of a help to the community.
Yeah.
And have my kids have the opportunity to give back in some form or fashion. Of course, with COVID, that's kind of
yeah,
put a squash on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Well, I know that you said earlier that the kids are not there to stay. You're not there to keep them for the duration of their school term or their school life. But, and I know you answered this as well, but I gotta ask it again. The transition time or the transition method, or how do you know when Johnny is ready to return back to traditional school? Just from experiences, I guess. I don't know.
from experiences, what I would say is, um, we have a behavior plan
Yeah,
that encompasses more than just behavior. It encompasses, I guess it's all behavior. Everything we do is behavior based, I suppose, and even in our walks. But you kind of see it. What I've said to parents and folks before is, um, you've got home life and you've got school life,
yeah,
and one may be completely out of whack.
yeah,
And when a child comes to me, you know, we're going to work on whichever one is the most needed at that point, or
Yeah.
and work with the family. But oftentimes they flip flop when they get to me, and then this one may be completely out of whack and this one's doing okay. But at some point they'll kind of level out
Yeah.
and be, they'll do things differently at home or in the grocery store or at church or wherever, and they're doing things differently at school, and that's kind of when you kind of get that notion, if you will, of
yeah,
we're making a lot of strides here, and so then after that, then we start to talk about a true transition back, and we communicate with the homeschool, try to do some visits, and those visits are very much myself or maybe the classroom teacher, or someone from the school would go with that child, and they would spend an hour today. Next week they might go spend 2 hours, or the next day. Building up more time, more stamina, reestablishing some relationships with their peers back at the homeschool, and it might be that it's a different grade level, so they have to establish new routines, and that's very difficult. I did not grow up and go from one school to the next, or moving schools, except when I transitioned from elementary to high school. So I'm sure that's very difficult in itself.
Yeah.
And so we try to take kid gloves, and spend as much time doing that as possible. And for each individual child, that's different. Some it might just take a couple visits. Some it might take a couple weeks of visiting a lot. And then beyond all that, I have to go back to the DRT team that I was talking about earlier. I can't just call a principal and say, he's coming or she's coming.
Yeah.
They have to make that decision.
Right. Yeah.
And then it comes time to have the parents to be able to come in and meet the staff.
Yeah.
And things like that to help with comfort level with questions that they may have. So,
I know that teachers put in a lot of time and effort, even in school and even in preparation. But I can just think in my mind that to be a teacher at this Horizon or alternative school, it has to be just a little bit more spatial, or just a little bit more, I don't know what it is, than just a traditional teacher classroom.
well, I'll tell you, I have a great staff.
Yeah.
And the folks out there may not know, this is my second principalship at Horizons. I was at Horizons in 2008 to 2011, and both times I've had an unbelievable staff.
Good.
both times. And right now, I've got a staff that's caring, that believes in the kids. Again, not to say anything, all the teachers out there believe in their kids. But to take a little bit, to say what you said is true in many aspects, but in many aspects, but we don't have the extracurricular activities, sports, clubs,
Right, yeah,
things like
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I guess it kind of comes out in the wash as
Yeah.
far as that goes. But teachers in general put a lot of time and a lot of mental and a lot of emotion
Yeah.
behind what they do.
Yeah.
So and we're no different in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I know our time is running out, but the building there was left vacant for several years after William and Noah moved out and built the new school out by High Brighton, and the building was left vacant. And the good part about that is it was never vandalized to the point to where you had to go in and do major repairs or renovations. And to me, that's a hats off to the community.
Absolutely.
In taking care of the building or not vandalizing it. But I know that you share that building. Well, when I say we have an area back where I used to consider the old industrial arts building at the end of the building there, Freedman Cultural Center. And you and I work well together in sharing that space and assisting each other in whatever activities. And then you have the preschool and what's the other?
Preschool and then wraparound services. are also there.
Wraparound services. Yeah, all of that is right there in that little complex there. And it seems, I know that I have a great relationship. We just use the facilities for the benefit of the community and
Yes.
for our people.
And I get a huge smile when I see you coming in the door. One, just to be able to talk and,
Yeah.
but two, I know you're coming and you're going to be bringing to me ideas about how you can help.
Yeah. Yeah.
With everything. But at the same time, I look at it as an opportunity to say, well, one, how can I help you with anything else that you might need? And what can we do to help you?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Just one hand washing the other, trying to help each other. We've gotten a signal. If it wasn't just for our telephone signal as it's time to quit, I've got a sign from my technician that it's time to quit. But the old saying goes, time flies when you're having fun. So I really appreciate you taking time out to come
Appreciate
in.
you
And
having me.
if you will, just share this and spread this over the school, that everybody will tune in on Thursday at 7 o'clock at the address that you got there, and just see how well their principal has performed, their fearless leader has performed here, and what he means to the school. So is there any just closing words, Mr. Roop, that you'd just like to share with us?
I would just like to say that if there's anybody that I can be of help or assistance to, and let me know. And if I can, like I said, if I can be a help, and I want to be a part of the community. I want my school to be, so if there's anybody that ever has any questions, wants to come by, and just visit or whatever, absolutely. Would love to have anybody and everybody that wants to know more about us come by and visit.
Well, unfortunately, this ends our time with Mr. Roop from the Horizon School there in the Freedman community, and the invitation has been extended. You are more than welcome to come by and just talk to Mr. Roop and see what they're doing up at Freedman Horizon School. And I'm sure that you will be impressed and you will be satisfied and thankful for what we have in our community. So again, thank you, and may God bless you, and tune in with us Thursday night at 7 o'clock, Mount Pilgrim Baptist, Mount Pilgrim, Lenoir, North Carolina. Mount Pilgrim, Lenoir, North Carolina at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Thank you, and talk to you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to another exciting segment of Straight Talk. where we get straight to the questions and answers that you would like to ask some of the leading people in Caldwell County. We look forward to bringing you podcasts that make an impact in our communities. So tune in every Thursday at 7 o'clock, where we will bring you Straight Talk. We want to keep you informed on activities that are going on within our communities. Be blessed. We will see you next week.